Have you ever wondered why economies experience periods of rapid growth followed by slower activity or even recession? What forces drive these significant shifts in our overall economic landscape, affecting everything from job markets to prices? Shifts in macroeconomic equilibrium are primarily caused by changes in either aggregate demand or aggregate supply, meaning the total demand for all goods and services, or the total supply of all goods and services within an economy. When either of these fundamental forces changes, the point where they meet, which defines the economy's overall output and price level, inevitably moves. Understanding these shifts requires looking at the components that make up aggregate demand and aggregate supply. Aggregate demand, which represents the total spending in an economy, is influenced by consumption, investment, government spending, and net exports. For example, changes in consumer confidence, interest rates set by the central bank, or new government fiscal policies like tax cuts or increased spending can significantly shift the aggregate demand curve. A boost in any of these components typically shifts aggregate demand to the right, indicating a desire for more goods and services at every price level. Conversely, aggregate supply represents the total quantity of goods and services firms are willing and able to produce. Its position is determined by factors like the availability and cost of labor, capital, natural resources, and technology. A positive supply shock, such as a major technological advancement that lowers production costs or the discovery of new resources, shifts the aggregate supply curve to the right. On the other hand, negative supply shocks, like a sudden increase in oil prices or widespread natural disasters, shift aggregate supply to the left, reducing the economy's productive capacity. When these forces shift, they create what economists refer to as either demand-side shocks or supply-side shocks. These shocks propagate through the economy, altering the overall price level and the real gross domestic product, or GDP. For instance, a sharp increase in government spending acts as a positive demand shock, potentially leading to higher prices and increased output. Conversely, a prolonged drought impacting agricultural production is a negative supply shock, which can result in higher prices and lower output, a scenario often called stagflation. To analyze these shifts, economists closely monitor leading indicators such as consumer confidence indices, manufacturing new orders, and interest rate movements. Identifying whether a shift originates from the demand side or the supply side is crucial for policymakers, as the appropriate response, whether it is monetary policy adjustment by the central bank or fiscal policy measures by the government, depends heavily on the root cause. Understanding these dynamics allows for more effective forecasting and policy formulation to stabilize the economy. Ultimately, recognizing the drivers of aggregate demand and aggregate supply changes provides a powerful framework for comprehending why economies grow, contract, or experience inflation and deflation. It helps us interpret economic news, anticipate the effects of policy decisions, and understand the intricate balance that dictates our economic well-being, moving beyond mere observations to a deeper appreciation of economic causality.